Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Lights Out League Racing Season 28, Race 6 at Interlagos in Brazil, just outside Sao Paulo. And we're at such a fun, it's a short but fun track. Basically like when you're handcuffed to a midget. And of course, officially known as the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, named after Jose Carlos, who won in 1975, I think. Met his untimely end a couple of years later in a plane crash. But let's not be dismal. We're at a slightly overcast qualifying. Will that turn into rain during qualifying? Who knows? As Benedicts has already retired from qualifying. I think he's got a qualifying ban, but has he done his lap to put his setup on? I don't think so. I think he's messed up. That's a Mercedes gone through with Benja. Of course, Callum and D both doing runs and inters. And luckiest by the looks of it as well. But what we'll do is we'll keep an eye on Benja as he sets the first hot lap of qualifying as he goes up downhill to turn 1 and turn 2 around the centre S. Right, it's the most popular place of overtaking around the large round-shaped left-hander of Curva del Sol onto the Rita Posta, open up that DRS where we'll see 1 or 2 overtakes going up to turns 4 and 5 of Interlagos. We go downhill and then climb back uphill up the short straight to the back of the pit boxes. Round turns 6 and 7 of Ferradura. Avoid the curbs, otherwise you're going to be hitting that wall, and it'll be an early bath round turn 8, so it's part of the track, and then the left-hander of Pinarino up turn 9. It's a very technical part of the circuit as we hit turn 10, right hairpin light corner where you're going to get good traction off the exit, round banked turn 11, and then one of the most important corners on the circuit junction. Important to carry speed through and get a decent traction on your exit. Don't take too much curb, and then it's basically flat out as we climb back uphill towards the start finish line and see what the first flying lap is. A 1:08.4. Will we see anyone in to the 1:07s? And it'll be interesting to see how these times as Katamis goes P2 the 1:09 flat. Apparently he is on 0-0 wings as Josh comes in with a 1:09.2, just 2 tenths behind Katamis. So we've got bench warmer and out lap. I think that's an Alpine of Lucky's doing a run on inters. 1:12.1, so saving himself some tyres for the race. Matman's dived straight back into the pits. His teammate for today, Brutus, filling in for Terry Reds on P3, and it's immediately eclipsed by Briddy with a 1:08.6. So Benja with still a decent provisional pole time. And I reckon low 1:08s, high 1:07s is going to be the time to beat. So we've got a McLaren, one McLaren, Jack's just starting a lap. Someone's gone round, that's bench warmer. I think you might have to do a full lap, Benedict. Or you'll have to let me know in the race, otherwise you're going to have a tricky one. Right, we'll stay on with Katz then. Apparently Katz is favourite by Dan Morris to get the P1. Jack's P2 and Callum P3 for the race. If he is right. And he's putting my acca on for the first weekend of the season as Katz comes and crosses a line, and he goes P4, 1:08.8. So slots himself in between Brutus and Katamis. He's in a cat bed, snuggers himself in. As Jax goes on to provisional pole with 108.4. Whoa! Just 100th ahead of Benja. That's like trying to thumb a thumb. I can't say it. I can't say it as Keys is starting his lap. But watch out, Lennon. As Lennon goes P3, 108.5. These times are getting tight. Josh can't improve on his position. He'll be on another hot lap. Dan's invalidated, so he's not going to be setting the time. And so is Keyser. It's tricky. Some of these corners. So keep an eye on Mr. Sygate, leading the Aston Martins this week. Crosses the line and gets himself P8 with a 109.1, just ahead of Josh. Brilliant lap there from the Aston Martin, as everyone is just setting a first flying lap. Let's jump on with Mr. Mattman, who's invalidated already. Did he do that on his first run? He needs to keep it within the white lines. Now, I've been saying the last few days, are we going to be having any rain? This track is prone to sudden heavy showers, known as Land of the Drizzle. It's actually quite tricky track in itself, known for its old school layout. And the elevation changes, which we saw on the hot lap as we go downhill through the centre S's now, and watching Geezer on another lap. And as I said, the unpredictable weather, which hopefully will play its part. We've got 17 drivers on the grid. We did expect if that's been working for your week, then I'm sure it will do, but I've never really tried it that way, Benedict. But if it has worked, then fingers crossed for you, mate. Yeah, let's stay with Keyser and see what he's doing at the middle, as Callum has succumbed. Amadi has won the Inters battle. Our fastest middle sector for Geezer. He's putting himself near the top today. Can he get himself on provisional pole? I've seen him get pole before. He crosses the line. And P3 just behind his teammate, 108.4. 400ths between him and Benja. And Geezer is in the mix. As we'll jump on Katamise, who's down a 10th. This middle sector, basically like a roller coaster, very technical. If he's got 0-0 wings, it's not going to be the easiest. He'll bomb it down the final straight. I'll be surprised if he does improve. He could dive straight into the pit. And Benja goes in as well. Is this Luckiest next? And Luckiest provisional pole, 108.1. 3/10 ahead of Jax Daniels. He's a lucky son of a bitch. So we'll keep an eye on Dan Morris then. And Bench Warmer, both on a lap. Bench Warmer sets the fastest middle sector, so you can see who has got a setup made for the middle sector. As Bench Warmer crosses a line and gets himself up to P8 ahead of Cats. So we'll keep an eye on Dan Morrison, who's got a couple of poles to his name this season. One last week at Monaco. Can he get himself in the mix as well? And he crosses the line. And he goes P2, 108.2, just a 10th behind Luckiest. It's getting very, 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 very tight. You love to see it. Brutus is a second down, so he's not going to improve on his. Jax is a tenth and a half up. Could take him above his teammate. Has he found any more time? He's improved, but not enough. Just a tenth. Brady's invalidated. Bench warmers on an in lap. Let's stay with... Who's ahead? Is it Katz? Let's keep an eye on Katz, who's down. So, yeah, he's not going to improve. Come on, Mattman, get a lap on the board. It's looking good so far for the Ferrari driver. Got himself a P5 last week, his highest finish of the season. At Jeddah, last season was a enigma, a double header, a tricky double street circuit. Tested drivers to the limits. And the limits Mattman on this lap is a 1:08.7, puts him into P10. So we'll keep an eye on Lennon. So Sauber gets out of the way. As Lucas extends his time to the 1:07.9s. And Lennon gets himself run to the grass. He's mowing the lawn. He's trimming his bush like a Brazilian. That's Josh House invalidated, so we'll keep an eye on Cygate. Ahead of Mattman. And if he finds a couple of tenths, he'll get himself up into the P6, P7 slot. We'll see how he's doing as he's just navigating turn 10. Bico to Pato, the Ducks Bill. As he's down a couple of seconds, so he's not going to improve this time. So we'll keep an eye on Catamese, who's a tenth and a half up. He's found a little bit of time, which will get him up to potentially P10, P8. He found some extra time, 1:08.6. Look at that midfield. As Benja's next across the line, he's nearly 3 tenths up. This could get him potentially onto the front row. It does. P2, 1:08.223, 500ths ahead of Dan Morris. Brilliant lap from the Mercedes driver and his teammates behind him, and he's also up a tenth. And he's looking to get himself ahead of the McLarens. We've got just under 4 minutes left. And Kiesege's pushing hard. He'll have enough time, I think, to jump back in the pits and straight back out again. The fastest middle sector. Kieser is flying. Is he flying enough to cross the lines? Amadee retires now. Those three will be starting from the back. And Kieser stays P5, 1:03.7. So does improve in his time, but not enough to get himself up the board. So everyone's in the pits now, getting the tyres changed. As Katz is on his potentially final flying lap. He's not going to have enough time to get another run. As he comes down to Interlagos, where you need to carry as much speed round. As you head down, he'll climb back up behind the pits. Avoid those corners. You've got to have your car planted to the ground. Such a bumpy, insanely bumpy track, this circuit. Those that do have a very low downforce. Is it? Oh, and the... Oh, Josh. Oh, my God. Either take a shit or get off the toilet, my friend. And Katz will be absolutely livid. Hopefully he's got another set of tyres to do a run and enough time to get out. Josh was on an out lap. He's going to have a quali ban next week for sure. As Brutus slightly up on his time. Yeah, but Katz is not happy. Hopefully he can hopefully he can do another lap. He'll have enough time, I think, just to get out. Everyone's leaving it very last minute. Sygate's just come around to start his final flying lap. Yeah, that was bad, Katz. But head down, my friends. Fastest middle sector for Brutus. He's one of the favourites to be up near the podium positions. Crosses the line. And doesn't improve on his position. Improves his time, but can't get ahead of Giza. Josh is down, so yeah, I think he's bailed out of that one. And we'll be starting P14. Unless he's got more fuel to do another lap. That's what we'll keep an eye on. Sygate as he's come around turn 10. Gets it nice and smooth. Ends the second sector and he's 3/10 up. Absolutely flying here, Sygate. Gets a good exit out of junction. Needs to hug the inside, minimise the distance of the circuit. It will get him up to potentially P6, sorry. Crosses the line. He gets P5. 1:08.3 for Sygate. Brilliant drive from the Aston Martin. He'll be missing his teammate. And we'll be cheering him on. Lennon's invalidated. Next up, we've got Katames. As he's coming round to end sector 2. And he's 3/10 up. He's looking for potentially a P4 here. He's going to be an absolute bullet down this final sector. He's got a slipstream of the Mercedes ahead of him as well. He'll be laughing. Crosses the line. P5 just ahead of Sygate. 1:08.3.35. We've got coming round the bend. I think everyone just starting their final laps. So luckiest is 2.5 up, so showing some fantastic pace here, the Alpine driver. If he's got a Callum and D pace, he'll probably be marked with the same strategy, crossing the line with a 1:7.6, so favourite for the win, for the pole. Benja invalidated, so he'll start his P2. Next up is Dan Morris, who goes in, clips in P2 for Dan Morris. Front row. His teammate's behind him. Can his teammate jump ahead of him? Can he get into the 1:07s? And Jax will start highest P4. Next up is Mattman, who's P10, followed by Katz, P11. Next up for Lennon, who is up and gets himself up to P4 for Lennon at 1:08.2. These times are dropping as the temperature of this track is heating up. Josh goes P14. As Brady up to P10. Keys is invalidated and Katz has done his run. So luckiest on debut gets pole, half a second ahead. I think, yeah, Josh will be in trouble for next week. Head down, Katz, don't worry. It happens. I was waiting for everyone to get into the pit, so Katz 0-0 wings not too bad. And it'll be tricky for everyone behind to try and get through. The grid is so close as Luckiest takes pole with a 1:7.6, so 4/10 ahead of Dan Morris, who's joins him on the front row. Benja and Lennon on row 2 with Jackson Katames on P3, row 3, Sygate P7, Giza P8, Brutus P9, Brady P10. Mattman and Katz on row 6 with Bench 1 behind, and followed by Josh, Amadi, Callum and Benedict, who will be starting from the back. So those who are watching, put your predictions in the chat. I'm just having a quick sip of my beverage. And at the moment, it's sunny. Sunny. Now, hopefully that's an announcement. So we will be getting underway at 20:31. If anyone readies up, they will get a smack as everyone... we've got Caps Lock watching as well. Hello, Caps Lock. Shame you're missing. And this is the moment where everyone will be sorting out their fuel loads, tweaking their setups. It is a medium to high downforce circuit, and we're potentially going to be having a two-stopper. If it's going to be sunny like this, the degradation on the tyres is going to be high. And for Amadi and for Callum, they will be doing a three-stopper. If we do get a safety car to try and numb them down a bit, they will also not be allowed to pit. And Benedict has his setup fan dabby dozy. Oh, God. It's still warm. It's not even sunny and it's still warm. I'm sweating like Fred West on ground force. Jesus Christ. It must just be this excitement. I hope everyone else is watching is the same. As we've got to ready up. I think someone's gone a little early. But we do have a formation lap. So Luckiest will lead us round. He's the new Alpine driver replacing Thelemy. And Dan Morris will be joining him on the front row. Amadi starting on the softs. Going to try and look racy off the line. And we've got a few doing the alternate strategy. Luckiest, Katamise, Briddy and Katz and Josh all going on the hard start. Everyone else doing a medium launch off the line. And it'll be interesting. You can see carbon fibre. You always wonder why it flies off there, but because of the bumps and everyone's set up, it tries to be realistic, doesn't it? Cars weaving round in and out like a fiddler's elbow as they make their way around this 4.3 kilometre anti-clockwise circuit. 15 corners, 10 to the left and 5 to the right, 2 DRS zones, 1 down the Rita Aposta and 1 down the back straight after turn 12. It's a very short circuit. And, who will be winning today? Emerson Fittipaldi was the first Brazilian GP winner, and the fact he was Brazilian as well made it even more special. Who will end up on the top step? Luckiest looks like he's going to be one to watch. It's a 200-metre run down from pole to turn 1 braking point as everyone jumps into their grid spot. Benedict at the back, and will he be let go by Dee and Callum? Who knows? Everyone's waiting for anticipation. And here we go. I can't remember what race it was, but there was a massive long lag. There was no lag today, as it's 3, 4, 5. It's lights out and away we go! And it looks like Luckiest has had a brilliant launch. Benji already getting ahead of... And Damas had a really poor start off the line. Lost 3 spaces, and his Katamise has got ahead of him. It's very tight round turn 3, but it looks like everyone's made it through, which is absolutely brilliant. As Katamise now up to P3 on the straight. And he's showing how effective his setup is as he's side by side with Lennon, who we lost. It's bench warmer, and I think Benedict, and it's Benedict coming round turn 4 and 5. He just has to put his head down. Hopefully he's got no damage. Katamise up to P2 as Katz gets past Sygate. And Amadi up to P11 past Mapman. And we've lost Jax Daniels. Round turn 9. Carried on going. And doesn't have a damaged wing, thankfully. It's very tight around this first lap. Everyone's looking very racy. looking for gaps. Hard, mediums is apparently the best. Methoders. Katamis is not 2.5 seconds luckiest, is ahead already. And he's definitely, if he's got that pace, he's not going to be starting at the front next week. As Amity now up to P9. Utilising those soft tyres, which will wear really quickly. Katamis around the gears as Callum up to P10. Getting past Giza with the aid of DRS. Cat's around the gearbox of Brutus Beer. He's staring at his arsehole, which looks like a skydiver's mouth. Dan Morris the lead. McLaren just keeping with Benja. Everyone's stuck behind. Katamis as Josh and Benchwarmer in the Williams. Filling in for Magel this week. And gets himself ahead of Josh in the Sauber. Up to P13 for Benchwarmer. And Katamis is the cork in the bottle. An absolute torpedo down the straight. We'll see probably in his footage afterwards as Dee's pitting already. He's having an extra pit stop and getting off those soft tyres. Brutus and Cygate through the centre S. Oh, a little touch from Cygate who keeps his car going. Oh, and almost takes out Macman. Benchwarmer goes through as well and is going off line. He's under threat from the cars behind. Defends through turn 4 from Briddy. Briddy side by side going through turn 5. But Cygate goes just ahead again. As Josh and Jack's battling as well. Benedict's 4.5 seconds behind as Amity comes out the pit. And track limits already for Bench. 3.8 seconds lead for luckiest, and Cats will be a tricky one to pass. Callum looking at the carb ahead of him. Already up to P8. And this train is close as Dan Morris getting back ahead of Benja now. Up to P4. It's luckiest again, another fastest lap. And Callum. Whoa, what's going on here? It's Brutus on the inside of Benja. Brilliant move by the Ferrari driver. Managed to keep his car glued as Jax is pushing like might. And gets himself a track limit. Says Callum getting past Benja as well. Benja's lost three positions in the space of about 4 corners. As Josh and Briddy struggling on this track. Briddy fights back though on the inside of turn 5. And Josh has to succumb to the position. As we've got Benja and Katz this time. Benja's just finding it a bit difficult to just settle himself. And he's just trickling down the order and finds himself behind Katz, who's on the hard, so in a good position. Brutus looking to tickle the arsehole of Dan Morris. You're going to play with feathers, you're going to get your arse tickled, is the saying. As Cygate has lost a couple of positions coming out of turn 12. I think he had a rough turn 11 and it's put him under pressure. As Callum getting past Brutus. Brutus defending as much as possible, gets held up by the McLaren. And that's Lennon who's got past Katamis. Forces his way through the S's where Cat's really slow. But Cat's is going to be an absolute bottom. Lennon defends the inside. And Cat's just speeds past. As Dan Morris on the outside of Lennon. It's so congested all the way down to to P10. It's Callum on the inside of turn 6. Brilliant move by Callum. Oh, and Brutus. Wow, did he do that? Locked up under braking and ended up losing his back end. He went round like the teacup ride and he fell off. Josh and Briddy battling again. Josh ahead this time. Coming round turn 10. As Katz has gained 2 positions. Look how congested this is. Katamis has broke free. And we've got a big train here behind Lennon, who's going to be under threat from Callum. He gets himself up to P3. Madman making moves on the inside on Benja, and he's made that one stick. Brilliant, brave move on the inside of turn 1 as Ahmadi's pumping those laps in. Look at that train. It's like one of those long hauls across America. As Callum's caught back up to Katamis, and the train is now from P2. There's Dan Morris keeping keys of company. He's found himself in P6 now. I'd probably say if Luckiest is listening, he has to do an extra pit stop. He's too quick for this group. As Callum now gets himself up to P2 ahead of Katamis, just ahead of turn 12. And it'll be a sitting duck for Katamis. Did he get him on the DRS detection zone? Katamis has got it, so he's going to scream past on the outside of turn 1. Nothing Callum can do apart from try and get him back as we watch Brutus on the inside of turn 1. Benchwarmer saw him coming, left plenty of room by both. And that's Benja. He's been struggling, and he struggled in turn 1. And he's dropped down to P16. Doesn't have damage. All it takes is a little tap, though. As Josh having a look on the inside of turn 4. Oh, the door's closed by Brutus. And that's opened the door for Benchwarmer. As they just slot in one behind each other again. Cat's looking strong here with Lennon. Lennon having a fantastic start to the race. Be eyeing up that podium. What Lennon needs to do is just stay within the track limits. He's very prone to getting penalties, which is one of his big downfalls. They go downhill to turn 12. We've got a yellow flag again, and I think it's Benja who's dropped behind Ahmadi now. His tyres are really hot, and he's just trying to push too early. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up going in the pit now and just getting on some fresh tyres. As Callum pits one of his 3 pit stops. So yeah, it's luckiest if you're watching and listening, you have to pit 3 times as well. You're way too quick, my friend. If you're not listening, that'll be your rule for next week, as Kat says. Right on the gearbox of Lennon, but Lennon's defending well. As Katamis is now in P2, Callum will end up near the back, behind Ahmadi. It's going to be a struggle here for Ahmadi or Callum to win this race, but that's the whole point of this challenge for them, is they've got to work for it. As Katamis is now 10.5 seconds behind Luckiest. As Katz is looking to make a move on Lennon in the Haas. I think an undercut's going to be very powerful here, so it depends who's going to pit first. As Benedict, I think there's a little touch there with Sygate, so he lets him back through. Very respectful there from the Williams driver. So 13th and 14th respectively. And Benedict looks like he got a better exit out of junction. And I don't think Sygate can defend this with the DRS unless he saved his DRS. It looks like he's gone into the pits. So here's a pit stop here for Jackson Sygate, and Sygate gets an Italian hand gesture for speeding in the pit lane, my friend. People that do that. It's like the wheels are turning, but the hamster's dead. Just slow your car down. Katz is just... He's so close, but he's just not close enough to make the move. My gap is just brutal. Jackson Sygate going on the hards and mediums. Going through different strategies. Jackson, of course, had that unfortunate incident round turn 9. And we're on lap 9 of 36. A quarter of the way through already. And I'm lost for words. Luckiest is checked out. So it's at the moment, it's a race for P2 as Lennon is pitting early. Oh, Lennon, no! Lennon, my God! Lennon! Lennon! Fucking hell. I can imagine his face is like a bag of smack twats after doing that. Jesus Christ, Lennon. Oh, you'll be kicking yourself. As Dan Morris gets ahead of Keyser down to turn 4. As Jax goes through, as Benedict pits. Oh, Lennon. You had it in your hands. You're going to be hoping for a safety car now. Oh, Lennon. It always happens. If it was raining vaginas, he'd be the one to get one with a dick in it. He's so unlucky. Oh, Lennon. Right, let's carry on lap 11. So it's kind of broken apart a bit now with his top 5. Mattman found himself up to P6 now. And he's got his teammate behind him. Oh, there was a little feint into the pit lane. As we find Josh. Josh goes through, sorry. So Dan, Keyser and Brutus all pitting. Mattman's carried on through. We've got 7 drivers left to pit now. As Josh is caught up to the back of Mattman. Andy, the net leader. But of course he's got to do Callum behind him. Both got to do that extra pit stop, of course. Gonna be tricky. That's the fun of the game. Somebody's stuck behind the Alpine of Briddy. Briddy defending the inside of turn 9. Armady trying to fly on the outside. Does a switchback. But Briddy defends. Armady's very seasoned and knows not to make any stupid dive bombs and needs to bide his time. And knows that he'll get the run. Potentially on the start finish. As oh, Mattman's gone off. Was that on his own accord or was that because of Josh? We'll hear about it after the race, I'm sure. If it was on his own accord, it's very unlike Mattman. He's very consistent. And he goes into the pit. Oh, Italian hand gesture for bench warmer. Lads. Salmon slap to the face. You absolute melt as Amadi has got past Briddy and got himself up to P5. Got 3 drivers now with that 10-second penalty. 12-second advantage for luckiest. Definitely a quick boy and we'll have to start near the back next week. Katz has found himself up to P3 after that incident with Josh in qualifying. And he'll be closing into the back of Katamis. Katz had a great start to the season. He's kind of tailed off a bit over the last couple of races. But he's leading the way in the Performance Championship. I'll be looking to try and extend that league today. As Josh now pits. Brady pits too. I think the undercut is powerful. It is going to be a 2-stop as well. Got a train behind Dan Morris now. All these front runners that pit a little bit earlier. They're having their own battle. Look at Lennon here. Pit a lap early and he's got a 4.5-second advantage. And if he didn't have that 10 seconds, oh, Lennon. He just needs to try and get that 10-second gap extra ahead of Dan Morris. He's just head down. 23 laps to go. Head down, Lennon. If the guys behind will be battling between themselves, that will help. As Lucky is now pits after 12 laps. Will we see anyone try and do the 1-stop? That'll be interesting. As Brutus, Keyser, Benedict Benchwarmer all keeping Jax for company as Katz goes in as well. Katamies takes the lead of the race. How long will he go on these tyres? As Lennon goes through round the centre S. Luckiest will come out ahead of him. And it'll be tricky for him to get past the likes of Amadi and Callum, so that will hold up his charge. As Amadi has caught up to Callum. Brutus just behind as Benedict takes a quick look on Kiesa. Put himself a little bit offline, and that's under threat from Katz, who's just got some fresh rubber on. Goes on the outside, Benedict leaves a little bit of room and he gets squeezed out. And loses a couple of position, or was that Benchwarmer? It's Benchwarmer, sorry. Oh, very tight. It's a difficult place to go too wide round turn 6. Jax is the second half behind his teammate, now running P7. As luckiest, Amadi pits again, sorry, now for his second pit stop. Getting the tyres out of the way. Running up to P4. And he'll be hoping to pump some times in, try and get ahead of Katamies. His nemesis for the race. Luckiest has caught up to Callum. This will be an interesting battle between these two. As they're catching up to Katamies as well. As Jax. Oh, Jax and Katz. Side by side as Katz gets ahead. Round turn 5. Giza sniffing around like a dog as Jax goes back ahead round turn 6. Don't know who was at fault, maybe Katz felt it was him and let Jax through, or was it just brilliant driving from Jax as they're going potentially side by side again out of turn 9. Katz will have the inside of turn 10. Brilliant driving as Jax leaves plenty of room. And Katz takes position up to P7. Giza ran his gearbox as the Williams drivers forced each other round. It's a yellow flag and that's... Callum's got a broken wing. Oh, what's happened with him and Luckiest? As Luckiest will struggle to get past Katamies here. As Callum's got a broken wing. Ouch. That birdie's just fell out of the nest. Benedict is slightly offline, squeezes out Amadi. As he took the wrong line around the centre S. Amadi will try and get past him as quick as possible as Benedict makes a move. Amadi still gets himself past Benedict, fighting on the outside of turn 5. Side by side. Amadi will get the corner going to turn 6. Great driving from those pair. And no tears for now. I have a feeling the stewards' room's going to have one or two things to look at. Nothing too savoury. Jack Daniels has got a little bit of a train behind him. Katz is caught up to Brutus. And Dan Morris is closing up to Lennon, but Lennon is caught up to Callum. Callum's now going into the pits. Lennon will have that DRS, so Callum making another pit stop and being forced into this one this time. And it's probably one that's a little bit earlier than he needs to come in. Callum filling in for the new full-time driver of Topher. Will have his first race next week and will be the full-time driver replacing Picnic for the second half of the season. Callum going on some softs. Woo! I think we'll be seeing him in the pit stop again. As Josh getting ahead of Jack Daniels down to turn 4. Brilliant drive here from the Sauber. Looking very racy on these hards, and he looked quite racy in practice on these tyres. And keeping Giza honest. Benchwarmers sticking with Amadi. Amadi's stuck in this train and will try and work his way through as quick as possible. As Jackson, Amadi, sorry, as Jax has the inside of 10. But Amadi has just made it stick on the outside. As the two Williams side by side, let's hope they're going to be... There's some team orders here. Trying to look at doing a switch back. Not quite on. Brutus now all over Dan Morris. And brought Cats with him as Josh now getting past Kiesegees with the aid of DRS. You can brake a little bit later at turn 1. And Josh now up to P7. Fantastic drive by the Sauber. And it's now the lead of the trainers. Amadi getting past Kiesegees. And now back up to P8. Keys are going a little bit wide out of turn 4, which will compromise his exit and bring Jax Daniels into play. The Williams driver's battling again. Benchwarmer still ahead of his teammate. Nothing yet to cry for, and Benchwarmer gets himself a track limits. Callum getting past Benja, who's had a miserable race so far. And as we speak, commentator's curse. Just loses his back end round 6, clip that curb. And it's not what he wanted. Luckiest retains the lead of the race. Katami's in P2. Lennon running in P3. And he needs to fuck this penalty off. Hopefully has a massive last stint. As Brutus is ahead of Dan Morris now. As Benchwarmer gets past Jax Daniels. And finally splits those Williams. Oh, what's Benedict doing? Trying to take the inside of Jax Daniels. It ended up cutting off the curb. And it's cost him a bit of time as Briddy and Matman go through. Oh, it's Sygate. Where's your brakes, man? Where's your brakes, man? I'm going to go as high as that Newcastle fan on TalkSport. If you know, you know. Oh, that move went down like a fart in a spacesuit. Terrible move from Benedict. Did he miss his braking point? Or was it opportunist? It's luckiest. He'll definitely have to pit again because he's gone on hards again. Katami's the only one yet to pit. And is he looking to do the one stop? And if so, that could open the door for Lennon to get on the podium. I'd like to think the yellow flag, and is that... It's Benja. I think Benja's retired in the pit lane as Cats. What's happened to Brutus here? Brutus lost a couple of positions as his teammate gains a couple of positions. Jax Daniels in the pit again. And Benja's called it a day. Thankfully, he's retired in the pits. Don't want no forced safety car. So these are cars looking strong. They're leading the way in the constructors at the moment. Try and bring them up. My laptop loads. It is very slow because of all the porn. So they've got a 54.5 point gap to the McLaren boys in P2. So it's a semi-decent gap, and it's still early days. But we're looking to try and score as many points as possible as Katami's is finally pitting. And there we go. Katami's gets a 10-second penalty. That's what happened when you've got those wings that can't slow you down. That cat's just got run over, and he's got a 10-second penalty. Call its owner. That cat's been put down. And what that does, it opens up the podium positions even more. Beyond luckiest, of course, as Benchwarmer makes a move on Kiesegees down to the Tessida del Lago. And it's a rudimentary one, and the Williams now up to P8. Callum stint on softs has got him caught behind Matman, and he's got Benedict for company on those old hards. Callum's fresh wing, of course. I'm sure he'll be absolutely sweating, but loving the challenge. There we go, Dan Morris currently running P3. But looking to get himself another podium. He's got 3 this season already. As the carbs just following suit. Amadi Just slotting behind his teammate, looking the outside, but he's getting caught up by the McLaren as Katz goes through. Dan Morris holds the inside of turn 2, but Katz will have the inside of turn 3. They're just wheel bumping a little bit, but Dan's just still slightly ahead. But who will have the DRS? Dan does not have the DRS, so he's going to get double Visa carbed. As Katz is defending the inside of turn 4. Brilliant driving from those zone. Katz has the position. And Amadi finds himself in P3. As Dan's fighting back on the inside of turn 6, but gets himself at track limits for his efforts. And Katz has the inside of turn 8. Lose a little bit of traction around turn 9, but Dan Morris has nothing left for now and has to settle for P5 as Katamise makes a move on Benedict, who loses around turn 6. Was that battling with Katamise or was it his own accord? Me no know. Only the stewards will. And Katamise, oh, goes deep. Matman goes wide, leaving Katamise loads of room. Potentially a bit too much room. As Matman has the inside of turn 12. Katamise is left in plenty of room. These two had a bit of a tussle in Silverstone. As Katz and Dan Morris side by side again. Katz is still ahead. Amadi has just broke out that DRS. And while these are battling, that's opened up the door for Lennon to have a bit of breathing space as Callum, Matman and Benedict all diving into the pits now for potentially their final pit stops. Dan Morris just following in. Katz round turn 6. These two have had plenty of battles this season so far, and then we're being pleasured with another one. And it's not even vibrating. Josh running P7. If he can stay within a certain distance of the drivers ahead, he can jump himself up on penalties. Had an absolute mare in quali, but doing well so far. And we'll have DRS on Brutus. As Lennon now pits, we'll get rid of that 10 seconds. Dan Morris goes in as well, trying to do an undercut on Katz. Stop. So Amadi still needs to do another stop here. So he's found himself in a really decent position from the back of the grid, doing that extra pit stop. Lennon will come out ahead of Callum, and that's very unfortunate from the Haas driver. So Visa Carbs again looking very, very comfortable in the podium positions. Luckiest 16.5 second gap on Amadi. Has kept himself out of trouble and has managed to work his way up from the back of the grid. You just can't halt him. Josh now goes in the pits for his final pit stop. And bench warmer, Italian hand gesture, bench warmer. That's twice for you as well. Double hand gesture for you. That final will be added to his finishing time. As Lennon has lost the position to Callum, but we'll hope to stick with him in his DRS. So Keys are in a prime position here. He's right behind Briddy. Got Katamise as well for company. I think he'll be trying to do a one-stop Katamise. It'll be really tough on these mediums. They'll wear like crazy. You can have tyres like the Mitchell brothers. And he's going to be an absolute bullet up this straight. Keezer will try and defend, but well, look at that. Ah, Italian has just for Brutus. Can no one cross the line? As Keys are pits, Brady pits, Cats and Brutus have all gone in, so Katamis goes through and is running in P3. Can he hold on to that P3? As Ahmadi's carried on. And that's... Whew. Oh, we got a yellow flag. We got a yellow flag. Who've we lost? There's someone hit the wall coming out. I don't really know. So I'm sure we'll see Ahmadi pit very soon. Looks like he's struggling a bit on these hard tyres, and we'll switch on to some fresh mediums. He should come out potentially P3, P4. And he does. Cat's in a decent position without the penalty here. He's got to try and get past Dan Morris and catch up to Katamis, who of course has a penalty. Jack Stannison's found himself back up to P6, which he'll be happy with after his earlier incident. Katamis goes through. Ahmadi's coming out now, and Dan Morris and Katz just coming up to turn 1. I think Ahmadi will come out in P3. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. And Ahmadi just ahead of the McLaren and his teammate. As Callum getting past Jack Daniels coming out of turn 3. Found himself back up into P7. Track limits there for Cats now. Penalties will be a big factor in the final finishing positions and potentially the podiums, as Lucas is now pitting for his final pit stop. Jack's trying to defend hard here from Brutus. Brutus all over the back of Jack's, looking on the outside of turn 11, gets a better launch out of that corner, but will stick behind him round turn 12. Him and Lennon behind will get the DRS, and Jax didn't really get a great exit and is already losing a bit of time to Brutus, who makes an immediate overtake before the DRS, and Lennon should go through as well as Callum gets ahead of his teammate, and Jax loses a couple of positions. Lennon trying to look and make a move on Brutus. That's to set up for P9 for now, and they're closing in on the Sauber boys as Katz and Dan Morris have found themselves on track again. Katz now up to P4. This will be for a potential podium position if they can close in on Katamis and get past him. On lap 28 at 36, not long left to go, and these final 8-9 laps have a big say in how this is going to play out. There's Ahmadi on the outside of 11. Katamis stays ahead for now. What's Katamis straight lines? Ahmadi already got a good launch out the corner, and that is the downfall to Katamis' setup. But look at him go! I can hear Ahmadi effing and jeffing in under his breath as Ahmadi makes a launch on turn 1, and there's nothing Katamis can do. Brilliant move from Ahmadi, and that's the only way you can get past Katamis with this setup. And I don't think Katamis is close enough to catch him. Oh, you can almost. But what that does do is it brings Katz and Dan Morris in play. Brutus getting past Josh again. Up to P7 for the Ferrari. So we move one of the hot spots for an overtake. Keys is not close enough to get past Brady. Alpine driver just struggling today. And had a great start to the season. And maybe just it's the type of tracks where you don't favour. Josh is staying here with Brutus. But what we'll do is close up on Katz, who's closed up on Katamis. Katamis is looking for his first podium of the season. As Kiesa does make a move. Brilliant move from the Mercedes driver up to P11 now. And just under 2 seconds behind the McLaren of Jack Daniels. Here we have Josh and Lennon is closing in on this battle for P7. Will the medium tyres wear off a bit too quick as Matman and Benedict having a battle here for 13, and Matman comes out of Cropper and has a brilliant move down to turn 4. Benedict will try and retake that position as soon as possible. As Katz is trying to get past Katamis, and he's pulling Dan Morris along with him. As Katz tries to make an early move, we'll have DRS. But is it enough to get past Katamis? He might have to do a dive like Amadi did. And will Katamis expect it? He does. And Katz gets himself up to P3. Great move from Katz. Meow, meow, motherfucker. As he drives away with his middle paw, sticking up to Katamis, who's having an immediate fight back on the outside of turn 4. And makes that one stick. These cats are fighting. They're having a squabble and bench warmer. It retires in the pits as we see Lennon get ahead of Josh up to P8. Katamis and these cats are squabbling as Katamis nearly loses his back end, bumping tyres with Katz. And this is congested. Dan Morris and Callum now too. As Katamis is struggling through this middle sector, he's gone offline, and it does affect the rest of the corners, and immediately Katz has broke out that 1 second. And Dan Morris will try and do exactly the same that Katz and Amadi did. Oh, as Callum's just trying to find space to put his car, gets past Dan Morris. Can he make a double move? As Katamis defends the inside, Dan Morris just clumps the backside of him. As Callum's caught behind Dan. Oh my god, oh my god, I can't even speak. As Callum got caught behind Katamis, and Dan Morris trying to get through, but then he ends up losing his back end as Keys has got ahead of Jax Daniels. And Mercedes up to P10. But it's Katamis trying to get back ahead, and just cannot this time. And while these are squabbling too, here comes Brutus Lennon. As these last 4 or 5 laps are going to be absolute drama. Luckiest will have P1 unless he crashes out. Benedict gets himself a track limits. And we'll put a little relief into Matman, who's closing in on Brady. A further 9 seconds ahead is Amadi. And we've got this battle here for P3. As Brutus gets past Katamis, and Katamis struggling on these medium tyres, trying to do a one stop, and his middle sector is not helping him at all, and he's dropped down to P7 now. And has brought Lennon into play. I tell you what, Lennon's close to getting a podium here as Katz gets back ahead of Dan Morris. Callum trying to fight back for Dan as Josh gets himself a track limits now. Jax retakes position on Giza in the same position as last lap. If Lennon didn't get that 10-second, imagine where he'd be. He'd be up there with, I think he'd be up there with near Amadi, you know. And Lennon will want to try and dispatch these cars ahead of him. Brutus needs to get past Katamis as quick as he can as he tries to have a look on the inside of turn 10, but Katamis defends the right side of the track and blocks that exit as Callum is stuck with Dan Morris. Katz is trying to break that 3 second. It's 1.6 seconds at the moment to retain that podium. Callum will have DRS. Get him up to P4. Dan Morris defends the inside of turn 1. Again, there's nothing he can lock up there from Callum. Katames and Brutus, as Lennon's actually gone through and got himself up to P6, goes deep on turn 2, as the Ferrari and the Red Bull go back through again. And Josh is coming to play. Oh, the Haas and the Ferrari just bumping wheels a bit, and the Haas has to just slot behind. Well, 34 or 36 as the Ferrari goes wide of Brutus. Lennon wasn't close enough to take advantage. These medium tyres are getting rough. And Katames is so slow through this middle sector. Brutus trying to look on the outside. We'll have the inside of turn 10. Left to the room there by Katames. And Brutus now up to P6. As Lennon have a look on the inside of turn 12. Ooh, just slots back in. And has a great launch out of turn 12 because Katames' setup is minging. And Callum gets himself up to P3. Ahead of Katz. Katames retaking Brutus with that setup. Lennon on the inside of Brutus. Goes off track and gets himself a track limits. Opportunist. And comes a cropper. There's plenty of penalties in this midfield now. These are keeping Jack Daniels company. As Matman gets himself ahead of Brady now. Chased him down. And he gets himself another penalty, and Matman will try and close in on Kieser. He's on the penultimate lap. He's going to catch up 2 seconds. And can he gain a couple of extra positions? As it's just settled down a bit now as everyone's stuck behind Katames. Brutus makes a move on the inside of 11. Oh, Lennon just, ends up clouting Katames. And we'll be ahead of Katames as we go down the back straight for the penultimate time for these guys. Lennon trying to defend from Katames. Katames, look, what's Katames doing? As Kieser gets back up to P10. I thought Katames was going to clout the wall. And he's under threat from Josh now. Josh currently running P9. As Brutus defends that P6 position. And we'll hope to try and get a bit of gap between Katames' slow middle sector as Josh is slightly on the grass and compromise his exit out of 5. And what we'll do is we'll jump on Luckiest. It's been no doubt for the whole race. And gets himself his debut win for the Alpine team. But he'll have provisions next week. Amadi will take P2. Brilliant race from the Kavisa car back. Callum will come home in P3. Fought his way through. And we'll take another podium. Katz will come home P4. Got himself a penalty. Dan Morris P5. Brutus will come home P6. It's a racer line as Lennon actually jumps him and goes P6. Josh P7. P8. Oh, Katames is dropping like a sack of spuds here. What's happened to Katames? I don't know what happened to Katames there. But he dropped unless he had loads of penalties. Oh, he had that 10-second, didn't he? He had that 10-second penalty. That cat got put in a bag and drowned. So Luckiest top step of the podium. Well deserved. But we'll not be so lucky next week. Fastest lap for Callum. Driver of the day by the game. Most overtakes given to Amadi, which you'd expect starting from the back of the grid. So your 3 podium sitters. Callum taking the fastest lap as well. Cat's coming in P4, gaining 8 positions, so that'll do his performance championship good. Dan Morris coming home P5. P6 for Lennon. What could have been Lennon? What could have been? 28. Could have got P4. Kieser P7. Josh comes P8, gains 6 positions. Brilliant from the Sauber driver. Matman comes home P9. capitalises on penalties. Brady comes home P10, finishes where he started. Jack Daniels P11, P12 for Catamies after that massive penalty loss. Brutus 13, Benedict 14, Sygate come home 15th, Benchwarmer and Benja both retiring from the race. Oh, that was an exciting one. Lots of action and so close through that midfield. It was insane. We are halfway through the season now. It's flown by. Unbelievable. And what's unbelievable is next week we will be heading to Spa. And it is a mandatory 2-stop, at least for drivers. For your fast ones, it'll be at least 3 stops. And it is a wet race. A wet race. I repeat, a wet race. So we'll have guaranteed action. My name's Alex. This is Lights Out League Racing. Peace out.